Dear students, in today's class we will see the basics related to the circle diagram of induction motor. So before going to see the actual method how to draw the circle diagram for induction motor, in this class we will discuss first this concept as circle diagram. So all those basic things we are going to study in this today's class. Okay, now let us see the introduction to circle diagram of induction motor. Okay, now let us see the description. In a particular circuit, if one of the circuit elements is variable, then depending upon its value, the circuit characteristics vary. So in any electrical element or the circuit, sorry, in the electrical circuit, if any one of the electrical parameter is variable, so based on that variable keeps on changing, means characteristics will be keeps on changing. Okay, as the value of the variable element is changed, the circuit parameters like current, power factor, power losses, etc. also changes. So if any one of the parameter is variable, so based on that variable parameter, rest of the things like current, power factor and power losses also keeps on changing in the case of electrical circuit. The locus of the extremity of the current phasor obtained for various values of the variable element is called a locus diagram. So usually if one of the parameters on that parameter, if current phasor is keeps on changing, so the extremity of that current phasor based on the variable element, whatever the locus we are getting for the current phasor, depending upon the variable element, that phasor diagram related to the current, we call it as locus diagram. Okay, it is called as locus diagram. From the equivalent circuit of an induction motor, the motor can be treated as series RL circuit where the element resistance of the circuit is variable, which varies as slip. So we know that equivalent circuit of induction motor, it is consisting of simply resistance and inductive elements. So it is as good as RL circuit. So in that RL circuit, resistance will be keeps on changing depending upon the loading conditions, depending upon the slip. Yes, so as loading condition changes, slip changes accordingly, resistance will be changing. So induction motor, it is as good as RL circuit, depending upon the equivalent circuit diagram of induction motor. Okay, thus for the variable load conditions, resistance changes and hence current drawn by the motor also changes. So whenever load changes on the induction motor, accordingly resistance changes depending upon the slip, and accordingly current also changes, because as resistance changes, current is also going to be changed. Okay, the locus diagram of such a current phasor is circular in nature and hence is called circle diagram. So the locus diagram of the current phasor, depending upon the different loading condition where resistance changes in proportion to the slip, then whatever the locus diagram we are getting for the current phasor, that current phasor, it is called as circle diagram for three-phase induction motor. Okay, using this diagram, all the performance characteristics of an induction motor like power factor, efficiency, stator losses, rotor losses, maximum output, maximum torque, etc. can be predicted. So this circle diagram, it is used to predict the performance of three-phase induction motor and the performance characteristics of the induction motor like power factor, efficiency, stator losses, rotor losses, maximum output, maximum torque, etc. can be predicted. Now, thus, a circle diagram is a graphical approach of predetermining the operating characteristics of induction motor. So, circle diagram, it is basically a graphical approach method which is going to be used to predetermine the operating characteristics of induction motor, just to find out the various parameters like power factor, efficiency, stator losses, rotor losses, maximum output, maximum torque, etc. Okay. Now, let us prove the locus diagram obtained for a current phasor is a circle. So now here we are going to prove the locus diagram, whatever we are getting for the circle current phasor, it is just like a circle, geometrical shape circle. Okay, for a series RL circuit with an element R as variable. So now in order to prove the locus diagram of current is a circle, for that we are going to consider by taking the example of series RL circuit where R is variable element. Okay, so now let us see the example here. Circle diagram for RL circuit. So now here we are going to draw the circle diagram for series RL circuit, not for first, in order to explain the circle diagram for three phase induction motor, first we will see what will be the circle diagram for series RL circuit. Why? Because this series RL circuit later on we are going to apply its concept to the induction motor. Why? Because induction motor equivalent circuit is simply a RL circuit. So that RL circuit we are going to correlate with the basic series RL circuit. So now let us see circle diagram for series RL circuit initially. Okay, consider a series RL circuit with variable resistance as shown in figure 4.6.1. So this is the figure 4.6.1, which is going to have electrical series RL circuit. Series RL circuit with variable resistance R, constant inductor L, inductance L, and current flowing through the circuit is I. Okay. It is excited by alternating source of V volts. So it is excited with AC supply having the supply voltage V volts and frequency F hertz. The frequency of the source is F hertz. Now let I is equal to current flowing through the circuit. So this is a closed circuit. So current flowing through the series RL circuit is I here. Now after this, Z is equal to impedance of the circuit. So Z is nothing but combination of resistance and inductance. So Z is nothing but the impedance of the circuit. And now where Z is given by R plus JXL, R plus JXL, resistance plus inductance. So therefore Z is equal to R plus JXL, where XL is equal to omega L, where omega is nothing but 2 pi F value. Okay. Now, now R is variable while XL is fixed. So in this circuit, resistance is variable, whereas reactance is constant, that is fixed value. So now R is variable while XL is fixed. From the circuit diagram, I can write the current equation for the figure 4.6, 6.1. If we apply the KVL to this equation, therefore we can write current I is equal to voltage by impedance. Current I is equal to voltage is V, impedance is combination of R and L, R and XL is Z. So therefore current I is equal to voltage divided by impedance. Impedance is R plus JXL. So current I is equal to V by Z, where Z is nothing but square root of magnitude part we are taking here. So impedance Z is equal to square root of resistance R square plus reactance XL square. So therefore I is equal to V by Z, that is equal to V upon square root of R square plus XL square. So now here we are going to take some assumptions. So that assumption is that multiply and divide this both numerator and denominator with the reactance XL. So if we multiply and divide both the numerator and denominator to this equation with the reactance XL, then once again equation will remain same. Just only we are going to modify the equation here, but meaning is same. Just multiply and divide by reactance XL here. So by doing this, what is going to happen? We will be at this side in the numerator, and square root of R square plus XL square. This is also going to remain at the denominator. Just we have multiplied and divided with the reactance XL here. So after dividing and multiplying, we are going to get this type of equation, where now in this case we can take out this whole part. So this whole part we can take it out, and now let us see the next explanation part here. The phasor diagram is shown in figure 4.6.2a. So this is figure 4.6.2a. This is a phasor diagram where this is the voltage phasor and this is the current phasor. Since it is RL circuit, it is having inductive load. Because of that, here current lags to the voltage by an angle of pi. So current lags to the voltage by an angle of pi, as the circuit is inductive in nature. Okay. The impedance triangle is shown in figure 4.6.2b, and this is the impedance triangle. Impedance triangle means it will be consisting of resistance, impedance, and reactance. Okay, R, Z, and XL. R, Z, and XL. R along x-axis, then XL will be along y-axis, and its resultant will be at the hypotenuse, that is at the Z. This is the Z. Okay, so this is the impedance triangle. Now from the impedance triangle we can write sine pi. So this is the impedance triangle. So sine pi is nothing but what? Opposite side divided by hypotenuse. So opposite side is, if this is the angle pi, opposite side is, this is XL, and hypotenuse is Z. So opposite O by H. O means opposite side, H means hypotenuse. So opposite side O is XL, then hypotenuse is Z here. So XL by Z. So sine pi is equal to XL by Z. So now if you see this equation here, XL divided by square root of R square plus XL square. This is nothing but this denominator part is simply, it is Z. This is simply z. So now this becomes xl by z. But what is the value of xl by z? This xl by z is nothing but sine pi. So now this equation will be changing as current I is equal to v by xl into xl by z. Z is nothing but square root of r square plus xl square. So xl by z is nothing but sine pi now. So now substituting in the expression for I, therefore we get I is equal to v by xl. This whole thing it becomes sine pi. This whole circle expression becomes sine pi. So this whole thing is nothing but sine pi now. Okay. So therefore I is equal to v upon xl into sine pi. Now this is what? This is the equation of circle in polar coordinates with diameter equal to v by xl. So this is the equation of the circle in polar coordinates with diameter equal to v by xl. Okay. Now when the resistance R is equal to 0, then power factor angle pi equal to 90 degree, hence sine pi equal to 1. So we know that if this power factor angle between voltage and current, if this becomes equal to 90 degree, if this pi angle, if this becomes equal to 90 degree, sine pi is 1, sine pi is 1. So therefore current will be getting maximum, that we will be, I will be changing to Imax, and Imax will be equal to Imax or Im equal to v by xl. When this condition is achieved, is current is maximum and resistance is 0. We know that whenever resistance is 0, current will be maximum, and then corresponding power factor angle will be what? Sin pi means sin 90. Sin 90 means it will be 1. So therefore, if power factor angle pi will be equal to 90 degree, then sin 90 is 1, and therefore we are going to get I equal to I max, where pi will be equal to 90 degree. So sin 90 is 1. So automatically v I is equal to v by xl, that is nothing but the maximum current, and for this the resistance will be what? 0, because whenever resistance is 0, current will be maximum. Okay. So this is the maximum value of the current. So Im is nothing but the maximum value of the current, where R is equal to 0 and power factor angle pi equal to 90 degree. Okay. As R increases, so if resistance is increasing, then automatically phase angle also decreasing, phase angle also decreasing, thus if decreasing the sin pi. So as we keep on increasing the resistance, then what happens is that phase angle will start to decrease, proportionally sin pi will decrease. Okay. If sin pi will decrease, if sin pi will decrease, then automatically current will decrease, because if resistance is increasing, then what happens? Current will start to decrease, because now sin pi is decreasing here. So uh, therefore sin pi decreasing, effectively current I also decreases. When resistance R tends to be infinity, if resistance is too high, if it is tending to infinity, then automatically uh, what happens is that phase angle will be keeps on decreasing and it becomes equal to 0. So now sin 0 is 0. So therefore if sin 0 is 0, then automatically current will be 0. So as resistance is very very high, then automatically current becomes 0, because if resistance is very high, then current at some point it becomes 0, and for that period of time the power factor angle pi will be equal to 0. So sin 0 is 0, then current will be 0. For this condition, resistance is very very high, that is equal to infinity, and therefore finally current becomes equal to 0. Current finally it becomes equal to 0. Okay. The locus obtained of extremities of the current phasor plotted for various values of resistance is a semicircle. So now this is the circle diagram for series RL circuit, where y-axis is corresponding for the voltage, x-axis is corresponding for the current, and this is the locus of the locus of the current, where this is current I1, this is current I2, this is current I3 for different power factor angles, pi 1, pi 2, and pi equal to 90 degree here in this case. So whenever pi equal to 90 degree, then current will be maximum. Current will be maximum. So the locus will start from here. So current will be maximum as resistance is keeps on increasing, then power factor angle from 90 degree it changes to pi 1, where pi 1 is smaller than 90 degree. Then automatically if power factor angle decreases, no doubt current I1 will be now from Imax it changes to I1. It means that Imax is greater, whereas I1 is smaller, so I1 will become smaller. Further, if I increase the resistance, then what will happen? the power factor angle further it changes from pi 1 to pi 2, then current once again changes from I1 to I2. So likewise, if we keep on increasing the resistance, then proportionally power factor angle will be keeps on decreasing. At one period of time, what will happen is that current automatically it comes to the zero. At this point resistance is very very high. At this point resistance is infinity, where power factor angle pi will be zero, sine 0 is 0, then proportionally current phasor which has been started to travel from this end to the other end. So suddenly at this point the locus of the current becomes zero. So if we check the locus of this current phasor, I can say that this is simply a circle diagram. It is simply a circle diagram for different values of the power factor angle. As resistance is keeps on changing, power factor angle will be keeps on changing, and current values will be keeps on changing. From I max, this is current is maximum. At this point current is maximum, that is I is equal to I max, where resistance at this point is R is equal to 0. Here at this point R is equal to 0 and power factor angle pi will be equal to 90 degree. 90 degree means I is equal to V by XL into 1, means we are going to get maximum current here. So as you keep on increasing the resistance from this point to this point, from then to the next point, till as you keep on increasing the resistance at this period of time, here resistance will be approaching to infinity. As resistance is approaching to infinity, then power factor angle pi will become equal to 0, then proportionally current will become 0. So here at this point current is maximum, and here current is minimum, that is 0. Then in between that we are having different current values, that is current phasor I1, current phasor I2, current phasor I3 for different power factor angles. So if you see this blue color dot blue color line traveled by the locus of the current phasor, so this is similar to the circle diagram, or it is similar to the semicircle. For this sake only we call this as circle diagram. Okay, the semicircle is shown in figure 4.6.3. Okay, so you can see here the locus obtained for extremities of current phasor plotted for various values of R is a semicircle. So here we are getting different values of the current, I max, I1, I2, I3 till to the I equal to 0. These will be getting for different values of the R. Here R is 0 and here R is infinity. So now the semicircle is shown in figure 4.6.3. The voltage axis is taken vertical as reference. So here voltage axis comes along y axis with respect to the various current phasors are plotted. So here in this case x-axis is current and y-axis is the voltage. Here voltage is taken as the reference, and for different values of the our resistances, that is from r equal to 0 to r equal to infinity, here we are going to plot different values of the current phasors. So this is the locus diagram of current, where you can see that the locus diagram of the current is just like a semicircle. Okay, and here in this case the diameter of the semicircle is v by xl. For this V by XL, current will be maximum, that will be I equal to I max, that is equal to V by XL, where for this condition, if I want to get R is equal to resistance equal to 0 and power factor angle pi will be equal to 90 degree. Okay, so this is all about the circle diagram for a series RL circuit. The power factors at various conditions are cos pi 1, cos pi 2, etc. As power factor pi varies only, then what happens is that as pi varies only from 0 to 90 degree, the diagram is semicircle. In fact, it is a half part of the circle, hence it is known as circle diagram. This theory of the series RL circuit can be easily extended to three-phase induction motor. So here I1, I2, I3, whatever here we have shown, these are the different power factor angles for different values of the R, and this is having the location of pi from 0 to 90 degrees. So 0 to 90 degree means it is as good as semicircle. Because of this reason we call this as circle diagram. So this is the circle diagram for series RL circuit. So now these concepts of series RL circuit, now we are going to apply it for the three-phase induction motor. How it is possible, now let us see. Circle diagram of three-phase induction motor. So for whatever the basic concepts related to the series RL circuit we have seen, now we are going to correlate that concept to the three-phase induction motor. Circle diagram of three-phase induction motor. The equivalent circuit of three-phase induction motor is shown in 4.7.1 in figure 4.7.1. So this is the figure 4.7.1, which represents equivalent circuit of three-phase induction motor, where this is having input voltage V1, this is stator voltage V1, stator current I1, then no load magnetizing current I1, R0 X0 are the no load what is this magnetizing branch, no load resistance and reactance, followed by that equivalent resistance and equivalent reactance is referred to the stator side, and this is the mechanical load R2 dash into 1 minus S upon S. Okay, so this is the equivalent circuit of three phase induction motor, where everything we are going to represent in terms of resistance and reactance. So whatever series RL circuit concept we have seen now, the same series RL circuit now we can correlate to the induction motor. Why? Because induction motor is also simply a series RL circuit only. Okay, all the values shown are as as per the per phase value. So all these values whatever here we are showing, they are all per phase values. The circuit is similar to the series RL circuit. The reactance X1E is fixed, while the total resistance R1E plus R2 dash into 1 minus S upon S is variable. So here in this case X1E is X1E is fixed, but whereas R1E plus R2 dash into 1 minus S upon S, this is the variable parameter. Okay, this is because slip S is varies as load varies. Why this R1E plus R2 dash into 1 minus S upon S, this series resistance combination, it is changing, is because as load changes, slip changes. Accordingly, resistance will be changing. Okay. If resistance changes, then no doubt current I dash 2R, this is current I dash 2R, this is also going to be changed. Okay. Because resistance changes means current will be changing. That is rotor current referred to the stator side. So I dash 2R, this is also going to be changed. Okay. And now the voltage across the parallel exciting branch is V1. So this is the parallel exciting branch, and across this parallel exciting branch, voltage is stator voltage V1. Hence we can write the expression for the rotor current referred to the stator side. So now rotor current referred to the stator side is nothing but I dash 2R. For this I dash 2R, we can write the current equation using the KVL now. So I dash 2R is nothing but what? V by Z. V means V1, Z means combination of resistance and reactance. So here reflected rotor current referred to the stator side, that is I dash 2R is equal to voltage. Voltage is nothing but V1, stator voltage V1, divided by impedance Z. Z means it is the combination of resistance and reactance. Okay, so resistance is R1E plus RL dash. So this whole mechanical load, this will be simply RL dash, where RL dash is nothing but what? It is R2 dash into 1 minus S upon S. So now equivalent resistance here in this case is R1E plus RL dash, where RL dash is equal to R2 dash into 1 minus S upon S. So this is R1E plus RL dash whole square magnitude plus X1E square plus remaining reactance X1E square. Okay. So therefore, reflected rotor current referred to the stator side I dash 2R is equal to voltage V1, stator voltage, divided by the impedance. Impedance is R1E square, R1E plus RL dash. RL dash is this R2 dash into 1 minus S upon S plus X1E whole square. So altogether this is I2R. Okay, where RL dash is equal to, R2 dash into 1 minus S upon S, which is nothing but the electrical equivalent of the mechanical load referred to the stator side. Now R1E. So this R1 is nothing but what? R1 plus R2 dash, stator resistance plus reflected rotor resistance. So R1E is equal to R1 plus R2 dash, that is equivalent resistance of motor referred to the stator side. Similarly, this X1E. X1 is nothing but stator reactance X1 plus reflected rotor resistance referred to the stator side. That is X1 is equal to X1 plus X2 dash. That is equal to equivalent reactance of motor referred to the stator side. So now this is the current equation for the stator reflected current referred to the stator rotor reflected current referred to the stator side. So now whatever the series basic series RL circuit concept we have seen, the same concept now we are going to correlate with the induction motor equivalent circuit now. So in the earlier case we have seen that I is equal to V by Z, and where later on we have multiplied and divided by X by XL. Okay, the same thing we are going to do now. So now here in this case I dash 2R is equal to V by Z, whatever here we have written. For this we are going to divide and multiply both numerator and denominator by X1E, equivalent reactance of motor referred to the stator side. So multiply and divide by X1E. By doing this, what is going to happen? We are going to get this kind of the expression. Now here we are going to separate this equation. Here we are going to separate this whole equation, and now here I can write this whole thing as V1 by X1E, V1 by X1E, but we know that X by Z using the power triangle X, this is X and this is impedance Z. So from the power, what is that? Power triangle. From the power triangle, sin pi is equal to what? Opposite side divided by hypotenuse. Sin pi is equal to opposite side is XL by Z. So the same thing now we are going to apply here. XL by Z, that is nothing but reactance to the impedance. Reactance is X1E, impedance is R square root of R1 plus RL dash square plus X1E square. So this is nothing but impedance. So X by Z is nothing but what? Sine pi. So this whole thing we are going to replace this by the term sine pi using the impedance triangle. Using the impedance triangle, we are going to replace this by sine pi. So therefore, I dash 2R is equal to I dash 2R is equal to, this is nothing but what, this whole thing sine pi and v1 by x1e. So this is nothing but v1 by x1, x1 is nothing but the current. Okay, so v1 by x1 is nothing but the current. So therefore I dash 2r is equal to I max into sine pi. This is I max and this is sine pi, where sine pi is equal to x y z using using power triangle, and the x can be written as x1e and z can be written as square root of r1 square r1e plus rl dash square plus x1e whole square. And now this thing Imax is nothing but it is ratio of V1 stator voltage upon equivalent reactance of the induction motor referred to the stator side, that is X1E. So this is Imax and this is sin pi. Therefore, I dash 2R is equal to Imax into sin pi. Okay, the I dash 2R will be at its maximum when we get maximum current, provided if resistance is zero. If resistance is zero, then current will be maximum. So here in this case, resistance is R1E plus RL dash. So if R1E plus RL dash is 0, then this current I dash 2R will be maximum. Then if that current is maximum, that maximum current condition we call it as short circuit condition, because during short circuit we are going to get maximum current. There exists an ideal short circuit, hence current Imax is called ideal short circuit current of an induction motor. If R1E plus RL dash is 0, if mechanical load is 0 and resistance, equivalent resistance referred to the stator side, it is 0, then current will be maximum, which we call it as ideal short circuit current, and that I dash 2R now it is called as Imax, where Imax is equal to V1 by X1E, and this whole thing is 1. This whole thing sin pi will be 1, pi, means pi will be equal to 90 degree, and this current becomes I dash 2R changes to Imax, that is equal to V1 by X1E. Rest of the sin pi will be 1, and this will be 1 provided R1 plus R1E plus RL dash, that is resistance is 0. Okay, and this current condition we call it as ideal short circuit condition, ideal short circuit current of an induction motor. Okay, and now for this Imax we are going to draw the for this Imax we are going to draw the circle diagram. Now locus of the current we will see for different resistance value. Resistance means R1E plus RL dash. How this R1E plus RL dash will be keeps on changing, then proportionally current will be changing for different power factor values, that we will see now. The equation 4.7.1, equation 4.7.1, this is nothing but what the, this is the current equation, represents the equation of the circle with Imax as diameter. So here in this case, this is the equation of the circle with diameter Imax, where Imax is equal to V1 by X1E. This is the diameter. So this is the equation of the circle with diameter V1 by X1E, which is equal to Imax, which is equal to Imax. Now let us see the equation 4.7.1 represents equation of circle with Imax as diameter. The locus of extremity. The locus of extremity I dash 2R is a circle as shown in figure 4.7.2. If equation 4.7.1, that is I dash 2R is equal to Imax into sin pi, if this is the equation of circle, then we are going to draw the circle diagram now for the for this equation, that is I dash 2R. This is the circle diagram with radius v1 by x1e, with radius v1 by x1e. So the equation 4.7.1 represents equation of circle with Imax as diameter. Thus locus of extremity of I dash 2R is a circle as shown in figure 7.2. So this is what, this is the current phasor, that is I dash 2R, which is having the extremity of the locus as circle diagram. So at this point current will be 0, and at this point current will be maximum. This is I dash 2R, that is Imax, and this is current I equal to 0 with with radius v1 by x1e. That is max. This is, if this is the current, then current here in this case will be maximum, and this maximum current is nothing but the ideal short circuit current, and here current will be 0. Okay, then but the total stator current I1 per phase is the vector addition of no load current and reflected rotor current I dash 2R. We know that the stator, if we see the equivalent circuit of the induction motor here, this stator current I1, this stator current I1, it is the vector sum of, it is the vector sum of I dash 2R, it is the vector sum of reflected rotor current I dash 2R plus I naught. Why? Because if you apply the Kirchhoff's current law KCL at this point, then stator current I1 is equal to no load current I naught plus I dash 2R. So now I can write stator current I1 is equal to I naught plus I dash 2R. Okay. So stator current I1 is equal to I naught plus I dash 2R if we take its vector addition by applying the KCL. For any induction motor, I naught has fixed value and phase angle phase angle pi naught, which is decided by the active component IC and magnetizing component IM. So again, this no load current I naught, it is once again, it is the vector sum of IM and IC, where IC is the active component and IM is the magnetizing component. Okay, so once again, this I naught, it is dependent on two components, that is magnetizing branch components IC and IM. Okay, uh, where I naught is equal to IC and IM. As I naught has fixed magnitude and phase, the locus of the extremity is I1, which is I naught plus I dash. So also we, in the case of induction motor, this no load current, it is having fixed value. Okay, and the locus of the extremity is stator current, that is I1, which is I naught plus I dash 2R. We state here locus of the stator current is I1 is equal to, it is the vector sum of no load current plus reflected rotor current I dash 2R, is also a circle. If I dash 2R is having circle diagram, means the same thing will be there even for the stator current I1 also. That is the meaning. Okay, as I naught has fixed magnitude and phase, the locus of extremities of I1, which is I naught plus I dash 2R, is a circle with diameter still as V1 by X1e. If I dash 2R is having circle diagram, means even stator current I1, this is also having the circle diagram with diameter same V1 by X1e, but some with slight modifications we are going to observe here. Slight modification, why? Because if I dash 2R is having circle diagram, if I dash 2R is having circle diagram of this kind, then automatically I1 stator current is also going to have circle diagram of this kind. But the thing is that in between stator current I1 and I naught, the additional thing is I naught, no load current I naught. So in order to draw the circle diagram of stator current I1, I should consider I dash 2R along with I naught. I should consider reflected rotor current I dash 2R along with no load current I naught also. So if we consider both these things, then this kind of circle diagram, it will be changing to some slight modification. Now let us see what is that slight modification if I consider I naught here. Okay, so here in this case, as I naught has fixed magnitude and phase, the locus of the extremity is I1, which is I naught plus I dash 2R, also circle with is also circle with diameter still V1 by X1e. The only change will be that diameter V1 by X1v will no longer will be along X-axis. So here in this case, diameter will of the current will be starting from the X-axis, that is X equal to 0. But now here, if I want to represent circle diagram for stator current, it is a vector sum of I naught plus I dash 2R. So instead of starting the current phasor from x-axis, that is x equal to 0, instead of that it will be starting from the tip of the no load current I naught. It will be starting from the tip of the no load current I naught. That is how you can see here. The only change will be that diameter V1 by X1e will be no longer along x-axis. Current axis will get shifted at the tip of the I naught phasor. So now instead of x equal to 0 origin position, instead of there, the tip of the I dash 2R will start from the tip of the I dash 2R will start from the tip of no load current I naught. Because if I add these two components, then we'll be getting current phasor I1 circle diagram. Okay, all the I dash 2R phasors are to be drawn from I naught phasor to get I1. So whatever I dash 2R we are representing, that this I dash 2R reflected rotor current circle diagram, we should start it from the tip of the no load current I naught. So if I start it from no load current I naught, then vector addition of I dash 2R and I naught, vector addition of I naught and I dash 2R, this gives us stator current I1, as I naught has fixed magnitude and phase angle pi naught. So because it no load current, it is having fixed current and fixed power factor angle pi naught. Okay, so now if I want to represent the stator current I1, so I1 is the vector sum of I naught plus I dash 2R. So now this I dash 2R, which was earlier starting from the origin x at x-axis at x equal to 0, but now this I dash 2R, this I dash 2R, now it is starting from the tip of I naught. So this is I naught, this is I naught. So from the tip of I naught, we are going to represent I dash 2R. So the vector sum of I naught, this is I naught, This whole thing is I naught, and I naught plus I dash 2R is equal to stator current I1. Okay. Thus, the current locus for stator current I1 is also semicircle, which is truly called semicircle of the three-phase induction motor. So now, if I if you see this diagram, where if I want to represent the stator current I1, so stator current I1 is also having the locus such that it is similar to the circle diagram only. The only thing is that the current phasor I dash 2R will start from the tip of no load current I naught. So vector sum of I naught and vector sum of I dash 2R, it gives us stator current I1. Okay. Then this diagram once obtained that can be used to predict the performance of induction motor under variable load conditions. So using this circle diagram, we are going to estimate or we are going to calculate different performance characteristics like slip, power factor, input output losses, efficiency. All those performance characteristics of three-phase induction motor can be calculated using this circle diagram. And now this the angle between this current I naught and voltage V1. Here voltage V1 is along y-axis, and along x-axis we are going to take the current. So the angle between the power factor angle between I naught, this is no load current I naught, and this is V1. So angle between current and voltage is nothing but the power factor angle. Since here current phasor is I naught and this is the voltage, stator voltage V1, so the corresponding no load power factor is pi naught. Similarly, the power factor angle between this now this I1, this is resultant stator current I1, between I1 and V1, stator voltage and stator current, the power factor angle is pi 1. So here cos pi 1 is the power factor of the motor. Then cos pi naught is the no load power factor of the motor. So this is the circle diagram which is used to predict the performance of three-phase induction motor, using which different parameters we are going to calculate it. So this is the basics related to the circle diagram of three-phase induction motor. So sometimes how to draw the circle diagram, that kind of question might be asked in the VTU exam. So the question will be like, prove that the locus of extremity of the current drawn by the three-phase induction motor under variable conditions is a circle. So question will be like, prove that the locus of extremity of current drawn by a three-phase induction motor under variable conditions is a circle. Question will be of this kind. So if this is the question, then you need to explain it from the basics of the three-phase induction motor, that is series RL circuit, everything. From here you should start to explain. Okay, so all this explanation part, introduction to circle diagram, from here then to the series RL circuit, then all these equations, followed by that this circle diagram. Now the circle diagram concept related to the series RL circuit, you should relate with the series RL to the three-phase induction motor by considering equivalent circuit of three-phase induction motor, and all these equations you need to explain. So this is all about the circle diagram of three-phase induction motor. But in the next class we are going to see what are the steps to construct the circle diagram. Okay, so this is all about the basics related to the circle diagram of three-phase induction motor. Okay, so this is all about basics related to the circle diagram of three-phase induction motor.